Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into someone really fascinating, Epictetus.
Absolutely. His life story alone is just, wow.
Right, that's what grabbed me straight away, this paradox. He was born a slave, literally owned by someone else.
Yeah.
And yet he becomes this huge figure teaching about freedom, one of the most influential, really.
It's an incredible arc.
So our mission today is, to pull out the key bits of wisdom from the sources we've looked at, give you a kind of shortcut to understanding him, or maybe re-examining what you thought you knew.
Refreshing the surprising facts and just how relevant his ideas still are.
Exactly. And the big question is, how does a guy who never wrote a single book himself end up inspiring Roman emperors, POWs, modern thinkers?
That's what we're going to unpack. His journey, his ideas, which were pretty radical for the time, and still are in some ways.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. He was born around, 50 CE?
Yeah, roughly 50 CE, in a place called Hierapolis, that's in modern-day Turkey.
But his early life wasn't there, it was.
In Rome, as a slave. That's the really crucial part. He was enslaved under a very powerful, very wealthy man named Epictetus, who was actually a secretary to Emperor Nero.
Wow. I mean, just try to imagine that. Enslaved in the heart of the empire. How do you even begin to think for yourself, let alone develop a whole philosophy under those kinds of conditions?
It seems almost impossible, doesn't it? But this is what's so remarkable. Even as a slave, he somehow managed to study philosophy.
How? How did that even happen?
Well, it seems his master, Epictetus, actually allowed him to. He let him attend lectures by a famous Stoic teacher at the time, Musonius Rufus.
So he got exposure to these big ideas even while enslaved.
Exactly. It says so much about his character, right? His drive, his dedication, finding that intellectual spark, that mental freedom even before he was physically free.
Which he eventually did gain, his freedom.
Yes, he did. It wasn't uncommon for educated household slaves in Rome to be manumitted eventually. And once free, he started teaching philosophy himself right there in Rome.
But it wasn't smooth sailing from there, was it?
No, definitely not. Politics interfered. Emperor Domitian, who wasn't exactly a fan of philosophers challenging authority.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he banished philosophers from Rome around 93 CE. Epictetus was one of them.
So he was forced out.
Forced out.
Yeah.
He moved to Nicopolis in northwestern Greece, and that's where he founded his own very influential school, taught there for the rest of his life.
And this is where the writings come in. Or rather, don't.
Exactly. That's another fascinating layer. Epictetus himself, he didn't write anything down. Not a word that we have, anyway.
So how do we know what he taught?
Through his student, Arrian, a very devoted student, clearly. Arrian meticulously recorded Epictetus's lectures, his discussions, his day-to-day teachings.
You know, like Plato recording Socrates.
Very similar, yes. And these recordings became two foundational texts of Stoicism. The discourses, which are longer, more detailed conversations, and the Enchiridion, that means the Handbook.
The Handbook, like a practical guide.
Precisely. A concise summary of his core principles. It just underlines how powerful his oral teaching must have been. The conviction, the clarity, it compelled Arrian to preserve it.
And his personal life, was it grand?
Quite the opposite, by all accounts. Very simple. He lived his philosophy. His whole focus was guiding people towards virtue, reason, and this deep inner peace, regardless of external stuff.
It really is amazing. Spoken words captured by a student, echoing down nearly 2,000 years.
It truly is.
So let's get into the heart of it. His philosophy, you said it was practical, empowering. What's the absolute core idea people usually associate with Epictetus?
Well, there's one takeaway, the absolute bedrock. It's this idea of focusing on what you can actually control.
Okay.
He famously said something like, and you hear versions of this all the time, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters.
Right. That sounds very familiar.
It is. But for Epictetus, it wasn't just like a nice saying. It was the foundation for dealing with everything life throws at you. It's often called the dichotomy of control.
Dichotomy of control. Okay, break that down.
He basically said, look, everything you encounter in life falls into one of two baskets. Basket 1, things you can control. Basket 2, things you cannot control.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And the trick is knowing which is which.
Exactly. And then this is the crucial part, rigorously, relentlessly focusing only on basket 1, what's in our control. Our thoughts, our judgments, our opinions, our choices, our desires, our actions. Basically, our inner world.
Okay, our responses.
Our responses, precisely. And what's not in our control, well, pretty much everything else. Other people's actions, their opinions of us, our health, our reputation, our wealth, whether it rains tomorrow, whether we get that promotion.
All the external stuff.
All the external stuff. And Epictetus argued that all our suffering, our frustration, our anxiety comes from mistakenly trying to control things in basket 2, or getting upset when things in basket 2 don't go our way.
Which is, let's face it, most of the time.
Right. So he said true peace, real tranquility, comes from accepting what's in basket 2, just letting it be and pouring all your energy into managing basket 1, your inner responses.
And thinking back to his own life, starting as a slave, he lived this, didn't he? He had almost zero control over his external circumstances.
Absolutely zero.
Yeah.
His body, his location, his daily tasks, none of that was up to him. But his mind, his judgments, his choice to learn, his integrity, that, he argued, was always his own.
So that leads directly to his idea about real freedom, then.
Exactly. If you connect the dots, this intense focus on internal mastery leads straight to one of his most radical ideas. Freedom lies in the mind.
Not in your circumstances.
Not primarily, no. For Epictetus, true freedom wasn't about whether you were outwardly a slave or a king. You could be an emperor and still be a slave to your anger, your fear, your desires.
Okay.
Conversely, he believed, someone in literal chains could possess a free, unconquerable mind if they mastered their inner world, if they understood what was truly theirs to control.
That's powerful, that your mind can be this untouchable fortress.
That's a great way to put it. An internal fortress that no external circumstance, no tyrant, no misfortune can truly breach. That's the freedom he was teaching.
So, if mastering your inner world is the key, what's the ultimate goal? What did he see as the highest good we should be aiming for with all this mental discipline?
The ultimate goal for Epictetus and the Stoics generally was virtue as the highest good, living a life of virtue.
And what did virtue mean for him? Is it just about being, like, nice?
It's a bit deeper than just being nice, though that's part of it. Virtue meant living in accordance with nature, specifically our human nature as rational beings. It meant aligning our thoughts, our choices, our character with reason and the rational order of the universe.
Okay, so living rationally, how?
Through practicing the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues, he really emphasized these.
Right, I think I know these. Wisdom.
Yes, wisdom. Understanding what's truly good, bad, and indifferent. Knowing that, say, your character is good, but wealth is indifferent. It's neither good nor bad in itself.
Okay, what else?
Courage. Not just physical bravery, but the moral courage to face difficulty, fear, pain, without flinching from what reason tells you is right.
Makes sense.
Then justice. This is about fairness, kindness, treating others ethically, recognizing our shared humanity because we're all part of this rational cosmos, acting for the common good.
Right, that interconnectedness.
Exactly. And finally, self-discipline or temperance. Mastering your desires, your impulses, choosing rational responses over knee-jerk reactions or fleeting pleasures. Resisting what's harmful in the long run.
Wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline. Okay.
Practicing these, he believed, is living the good life. That's the target.
And this ties into another concept I've heard connected with him, something about fate.
Ah, yes. Acceptance of fate, or the Latin term amor fatini, literally love of fate.
Love of fate. That sounds passive, like just giving up.
That's a common misconception. It's really not passive resignation. It's not just shrugging and saying, oh, well. Epictetus meant something much more active, even joyful.
Joyful acceptance of everything, even the bad stuff. All right.
Even the bad stuff. Maybe especially the bad stuff. It's about actively embracing everything that happens, the good, the bad, the ugly, as necessary, as part of the rational unfolding of the universe. Instead of fighting reality, wishing things were different.
You say yes to it.
You say yes to it completely.
Yeah.
You recognize that you can't control external events. Back to the dichotomy. So resisting them is futile and causes suffering. Loving your fate means seeing everything as an opportunity to practice virtue, to learn, to grow stronger.
Wow. That's a radical shift in perspective, to love whatever happens.
It is. And he believed it was the path to profound inner peace.
Yeah.
Stop fighting the inevitable, align your will with reality, and find tranquility.
It strikes me again how incredibly practical all this is. This wasn't just theory for him.
Not at all. It was practical philosophy for daily life. That was the whole point.
So what kind of specific day-to-day advice did he give? How did he tell people to actually use these ideas when they got insulted or angry or faced loss?
He gave very direct, usable advice. On anger, for instance, he'd remind you that it's your judgment about the event, not the event itself, that causes the anger. The other person's words can't harm your inner self unless you allow them to, unless you judge them as harmful.
So dealing with insults.
Same principle. Someone insults you. That's their opinion, based on their judgments. It reflects on them, not necessarily on your true worth. Why let their flawed judgment disturb your peace? You control your assessment of the insult.
What about bigger things like fear or loss?
Fear, he'd say, often stems from worrying about things outside your control. Examine the fear. What part's truly up to you? Focus there. Loss. Yeah, it's tough. But he advised viewing things we love, possessions, even people, as being on loan from the universe.
On loan?
Yeah. Enjoy them, cherish them, but understand they aren't truly yours forever. When they're gone, return them gracefully, without bitterness, recognizing it's the natural order. Even death itself was framed as just another natural event, nothing to fear intrinsically.
It's like he provided a mental toolkit for almost every difficult human experience.
That's exactly right. Philosophy for him wasn't an academic subject. It was a way of life, a constant practice. Ascesis, as the Greeks called it, training.
Which brings us back to discipline.
Absolutely central. The role of discipline is huge in Epictetus. You don't just wake up one day and decide to be wise and courageous. It requires constant vigilance, self-monitoring, practice. Training your mind like an athlete trains their body. Rigorous, consistent effort.
Okay, so a lot of focus on the individual's inner world, their discipline. Did he talk much about how we should interact with others beyond just being just?
He did, and it flows naturally from the Stoic worldview. He strongly advocated for universal brotherhood or cosmopolitanism. Meaning we are all citizens of the world, all children of the same divine reason, the same logos. We share a fundamental rationality and humanity.
So we're all connected.
Deeply connected, and this implies a strong ethical duty to treat everyone, regardless of their origin, status, whatever, with respect, fairness, and goodwill. We're part of one community.
That feels very relevant today, too.
Extremely. And finally, another key piece of practical advice was preparedness for adversity. Don't be surprised when things go wrong.
Expect trouble.
Kind of, yeah. Not in a pessimistic way, but realistically. Life will bring challenges, setbacks, hardships. That's guaranteed. Philosophy's job isn't to prevent them, but to equip you to face them.
How?
By viewing adversity not as a catastrophe, but as a test. An opportunity to practice those virtues we talked about: courage, patience, resilience, wisdom. Like a wrestler welcomes a tough opponent to hone their skills, we should welcome challenges to strengthen our character. Train for the storms, so when they hit, you remain steady.
What an incredible legacy. From slavery to shaping minds thousands of years later, it really underscores how timeless his ideas are. Why do you think they still hit home for so many people today?
I think it's because his message speaks directly to the core human condition, to our search for meaning, peace, and resilience in a world we often can't control. His influence is undeniable. Think about Marcus Aurelius.
The Roman Empire.
Right, one of the most powerful men in the world, constantly reading Epictetus, using the Handbook as his personal guide for ruling and living well. Fast forward centuries. Admiral James Stockdale.
The Vietnam POW you mentioned.
Yes, he explicitly credited Epictetus with giving him the mental framework to endure years of torture and isolation as a prisoner of war, maintaining his dignity, his agency, when everything external was gone. That's an incredible testament.
Wow.
And you see echoes of Epictetus everywhere in modern psychology, particularly things like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. The idea that your thoughts shape your feelings and behaviors. That's pure Epictetus.
So his central message just cuts through.
It really does. The core idea that true happiness, genuine freedom, lasting peace, they don't come from chasing external things like wealth, fame, or pleasure. They come from mastering your inner world, your judgments, your reactions, your choices. That's a message that resonates just as powerfully in our chaotic 21st century as it did in ancient Rome.
So wrapping up our deep dive today, we've journeyed with Epictetus from enslavement in Rome to becoming this enduring voice for inner freedom.
A voice still guiding us.
Absolutely. And that central theme, the power you gain from truly understanding what you can control versus what you can't, it's just so fundamentally transformative. It offers a real path to tranquility, even when life feels overwhelming.
It really does.
So here's something for you to think about. Consider one area in your life right now where maybe you're putting energy into trying to control something that's ultimately uncontrollable.
Could be anything. Other people's opinions, a global issue, maybe even some aspect of your health.
Right. Now, what might shift for you if you consciously decided to pull that energy back and focus solely on your response, your thoughts about it, your inner state, the choices you could make in relation to it?
What kind of freedom could that unlock, even in a difficult situation?
It's definitely worth pondering. Reflect on which of these ideas from Epictetus really speaks to you, and maybe, just maybe, how you could start applying it, even in a small way.
A little bit of practice each day.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep exploration.
Been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.